Obama said about the space program, you know, we're going to put a man on an asteroid or Mars, you know, someplace in 25 years or so. I'm committed to it. What is that? What is that? What are our policies anymore? We have a guy who says, you know, he's going to get our troops out. Hello? How about acting as the world's police officer? Are you done with that? Because I am. I am not a guy who says I'm a guy who firmly supported going into Iraq and Afghanistan. I just want to finish the job, win it, and come home. And I don't think we've been intending on winning this thing in a long time. Chris Edwards, Tax Policy Studies Director for the Cato Institute. Justin Logan, Associate Director for Foreign Policy Studies, also at the Cato Institute. I want to talk to you about the ramifications of what I'm saying and what you guys at the Cato Institute are calling for. You're saying withdraw the troops from Iraq and Afghanistan.
Sure.
I think we're going the opposite direction, at least in Afghanistan. I think Afghanistan-Pakistan is about to become a nightmare.
It's interesting, there was a recent poll of U.S. military personnel. How long do they think it's going to take to achieve our objectives in Afghanistan? And it's all weighted around 7, 8, 9, 10 years.
Well, what is our objective? What is our objective?
Our objective is to achieve progressive social change. Our objective is to create a modern state in Afghanistan.
That's not going to happen.
Well,
that's why nobody in America supported that when we went in. Nobody said, hey, you know what? Let's make sure there's equal rights. Let's make sure that the poppy field. No, that's not what we said. Go get the guys responsible for 9/11. That's not what we're doing now.
No, that's exactly right.
All right.
One of the other things in the defense budget is we're subsidizing European social democracy. As part of the NATO commitment, we have troops in Western Europe. Those Western European militaries are spending less than 2% of their GDP on their militaries, although they're committed to do more than 2% of GDP. So the next time you're roaming around in Paris or London and you look at those funny little buses or trams that they have over there, you paid for part of that. In terms of our military spending on behalf of Western Europe, we can be smarter than that.
All right, so first of all, before you even ask it, bloggers, where were you and George Bush saying the same stuff? Saying the same stuff. Immoral to put people in harm's way in our name and then not use everything to finish it and finish quickly. Saying the same stuff. Here's where I'm because I am becoming more and more libertarian on this. The problem I have with libertarians is they're immediately, we got to stop everything right now and come home. That's impossible because it's taken us 100 years to create this. Nature abhors a vacuum. How do you pull everybody from overseas back home and not create just an awful, awful vacuum?
I think that's the most important question to ask of people like me, people like yourself now. And I think that you have to look at what we would likely leave behind in somewhere like Western Europe. How likely do you think it is that those countries, for example, are going to start World War III over there? Well, it's an open question, and no one can predict the future with any certainty. But I think you actually have to be pretty creative to come up with a scenario where, for example, Germany rearms and decides to annex a piece of France again. There's been a lot of European integration that's gone on. There have been a number of other things, including the spread of nuclear weapons, which tend to induce caution on the part of those countries. I think
10 years ago, I would have said, 5 years ago, I think I would have agreed with that. But you have economic chaos coming to Europe, and you have a very aggressive Russia. I mean, you just have bad guy city over there.
You do have, I think, Russian sort of activities, and what it calls its near abroad is definitely troublesome. But if you look at the Russian military budget, it's vastly less than the collective budgets of France and Germany, et cetera, which are already pretty low.
All right, so now give me the Middle East. We go in. The reason why Saddam Hussein was successful is because he's a strong man. If you look at all of the heroes of the Middle East, even Muhammad, he was a warrior. He was a warrior. The West looks at heroes like Martin Luther King to Jesus. Peacemakers. You know what I mean? So it's a different mindset entirely. When you have people who are... Iraq is tribal. It's tribal. How we leave, there's no strong man there. What happens?
It's an open question. And again, nobody can predict the future with any certainty. I think the problem with the current strategy is getting bogged down in these sorts of, again, whether you want to call them nation building or state building or progressive social change or what have you. The countries in the region look at us floundering around over there and sort of tend to snicker. Now, ostensibly, we're going to be getting out in 2011. I think we're going to have a real heck of a time getting out down to the last man and not taking the lid off of this pot and having it boil over.
Here's where I have my biggest problem, and that is Israel. Because I am a defender of Israel. They're the only real ally we have. They're the only one. It's like walking over, when you're over in Israel, it's like walking in any American city in many ways. The values are much alike. They're completely screwed up on some things, but they are the only thing that I even recognize over there. It's the only safe haven. So I want to come to you, and we're going to come back. I want to come to you and just ask you that. What do you do about Israel if you're going to mind our own business? Back in a second.